So today I'm finally filming a book review in what seems like forever. I am so excited to film today's video because I haven't actually filmed a book review for a really long time. Like, I don't think I've filmed one at all this year, and I used to film so many because I used to film one for all of my anticipated reads, but then I stopped doing that, and then I only was really filming reviews for books that I really loved, or books that were so disappointing that I needed to talk about it. But I just haven't really been reading like a great amount of books, and I think with the feeling of like being in the reading slump and also just not really caring as much as I used to, I just stopped filming them. But I would love to try and start filming reviews again, and I am hoping that with the books that I've brought with me, there is going to be like options for me to actually film reviews, and there may be more reviews than I expect, because me being in Newcastle, I have just joined Sydney, and Melbourne's probably going to join us soon into lockdown, and I'm only in a week-long lockdown, so hopefully they can like maintain the cases, and hopefully it doesn't like get further than that. But it's still kind of annoying that it's like I only moved like 2 weeks ago, like not even 2 weeks ago, like tomorrow will be 2 weeks, and there's already the idea that there could be COVID here, and that's still very stressful and scary. But I feel like that's what everyone's kind of been going through at the moment, so I may potentially have more time to read. Like, I'm still not going to work for the next month, and now I can't really leave the house, so this is hopefully time for me to like read, film reviews, have a good time. But the book I'm going to be reviewing is Lore by Alexandra Bracken, because I got about 2/3 of the way through this book before I was like, I should film a review for this. And that's so funny to me because it's just not my like first thought anymore when I read books. I guarantee there's 100 books that I could have filmed reviews for that I didn't, but I'm shocked at myself that I haven't. But I'm very keen to do this video. I really enjoyed this book. I was so scared going into it because I've seen so many reviews of people hating this book, but also times where people have really loved this book. And like a lot of my friends who have also read this book have had mixed feelings, so I wasn't sure how to feel. But I think because I had lower expectations, I actually ended up really enjoying this book. I still gave it 4 stars because there was a lot of irritating things. Like, I'm not going to say they weren't irritating things, but I really had fun with this. I'm excited to film this review, and it's going to be full of spoilers, guys. So if you haven't read the book, probably don't watch the review. But I highly recommend you going out there, picking this book up, giving it a go, and coming back and talking your feelings with me. But I'm excited for this review. Now, I want to get into the general thing that was annoying me with this book, and that was the size of it. Because you have 200 pages of just pure info dumping where I was just confused the whole time, because there are so many gods going on. They have the whole Argon, and there's all these families you got to remember, and all these characters you got to remember, and by the end of the book it was quite simple what was the thing going on. But like, to spend 200 pages doing that, and I don't think my brain was ready to have to deal with that much information, because the last time I read a really big info dumpy confusing book was House of Earth and Blood, but then that book made a lot of sense and I loved that book. But it's been a while, okay? It's been a while since my brain has had to like work that hard to figure out what was going on in a book. But then at the same time, the whole book was so slow, and like not that much really happened. Like, what was the purpose of it being 547 pages long? But it was so slow, and then the whole thing got rushed at the end, and the ending was dumb, and I didn't like what happened, and it just didn't make sense, and it didn't even answer all the questions that I had. So you could have used all this time when they were just walking from building to building and down streets and doing this, and there was so much stuff that kept getting repeated, but also so many convenient plot points to push the story along that wasn't even happening in the first place. And then the end was all action, 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 bam, 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 done. Like, this could have worked as a duology, and I know it was a fun idea at first to think, oh, this is a urban fantasy standalone, but they needed to have 2 books because you needed to have info dumping and then some actual plot happening. So the plot was really weak for me. The characters were what was special to me in this book, but like, I just can't believe that like I spent so long reading this book and like what happened actually. And as I said, I really liked Lore as a character. I actually really enjoyed the idea of the revenge plot if it's done well, and I do think it was done well in this book, because obviously when she was 10 years old at the last Argon, or whatever it's called, her whole family was killed, so she's been in hiding for the past 7 years, and now that the new Argons come, she's on everyone's radar again. So she was trying to stay away from it, trying to stay hidden so that she wouldn't be a part of this world anymore, but then she got sucked back in and she wants to kill the person that slaughtered her whole family, including a baby sister and like a 7-year-old sister. So like 2 children were brutally murdered and her parents, and I understand that she is rightfully pissed and she's seeking vengeance for what happened to them, and she just wants to like have the whole thing go away, and that's all that her purpose is just to try to figure out how to make it all stop and to kill the person that killed her family. And she trained basically from the age of 7 to be a hunter, and she still trained in the time when she was hiding, and she's a very good fighter. I think she's got pretty good strategy, and she doesn't necessarily work well with others, but she does make the tough decision when she needs to, and you've got Caster there all like, we don't kill people, and she's like, bitch, I'm gonna. So I appreciated that she's like, nah, don't tell me what to do, I'm gonna kill people, I'm a fight, I'm a deal with it all, and I appreciated her as a character. And she did have a really nice growth over the course of the book, because there was a lot of things that I think she saw in black and white, and she really had kind of an awakening with certain things, and obviously a lot of shit happened to her in the week that she had to deal with, and I think she handled everything well, but then again the ending was just very weird, and I was like, you were developing so well, and then bam. What? Now, the thing that gave me much excitement but also anger was there were so many plot twists happening in this book, and most of them I didn't see coming. Like, am I losing my touch? I am generally really good at picking up these plot points when they happen in books and being so proud of myself for being like, yes! And this whole time I was just like, oh my god, how did I not see this? All these things are foreshadowed, and for what? Like, so firstly, when they're talking about Caster like maybe being dead and no one's seen him for a while, and then Apollo's missing, how did I not connect that Caster killed Apollo and became the new god? Like, when he popped up and he was in his little like outfit and he's all just like, haha, I was just like, excuse me? Like, who are you and what have you done? So it was really exciting that Caster is still alive and was still good, but still I was just like, excuse me. And he had powers that he didn't know how to control, and there was that whole weird thing going on there of like, why does he feel like a god but not really a god, and then that kind of got explained at the end but like not really well. And the next thing that I didn't see coming was Gil actually being Hermes. Why did I not think more of it when this random stranger just comes into her life and gives her everything that she needs and a place to stay and protects her and is there always for her? But he died a couple of months ago because he had to go back in the Argon, and then Hermes did die, so she never got to talk to him again. But like, how did I not see that coming? Like, it just made total sense that they would try to put themselves in her life because they need to find the Gigi's or whatever the shield is called, because I can't read, but I didn't see that one coming either. And then having it that obviously Wrath or Kamadou or whatever his name is going after the gods and killing them all, because I think he was thinking that if he killed all of them then he'd be the last god and survive. So when we thought Tidebreaker died early on, and the next minute she's been locked up this whole time and was still alive, and she was also trying to get to Law. So it's interesting that all these gods and goddesses were all trying to protect her, and obviously they wanted to protect her for the shield, but for me it always felt like there was something more that they were trying to do, and then they just never like touched base on it again at the end. So like, was it seriously about the shield, or were they actually trying to protect her because she was special? Like, I thought there was going to be something more to Law than just being like, oh, I can hold this shield and blah blah blah, but like, she didn't really do much in the end. So I feel like there was potential there that they could have had something extra, but then they kind of let it fade out. Then the thing that really got me is that Athena was never there to help them. Like, I don't know why I thought that she was on their side, because when she, you know, turns up and she's all injured and then they make that deal and then they're gonna fight and she's got the opportunity to kill the person that's killed her family, and then Athena ends up being bad and she's only there because she wants the shield. And then she saw Law 7 years ago when she stole the shield, and then she tortured and killed her whole family. And when I read that part I was just like, ugh! Like, I can't believe that Law was working with her family's murderer the whole entire time. And like, I understand that she was so cut about it, but then when she like tried to kill herself so that Athena wouldn't win, and then Athena said, oh, I never actually made a bargain with you, you're so dumb to have thought that, I was even more worried, because then I was like, oh my god, I really thought Athena was going to be a really good character, and she was a really good character, but I didn't even notice it. And then there was so much foreshadowing and different lines and stuff that she was saying that I thought about later, and then I'm just like, oh my god, she basically spelled it out for you that she was evil, and I didn't see it. Like, I'm stressed that I didn't see these things happening. But like, oh, It was such a good book. This is what was the best about this book, is the enjoyment factor of being shocked multiple times and stuff just kept happening and it was just like, oh my god. And then to get on to the romance segment of this, I was not a fan of the main romance. Like, for some reason, Law and Castor just didn't fit well with me. And I will say that for the first half of the book, how there was this slow development of them slowly realizing that they liked each other, and that, like, obviously they'd been friends for 3 years when they were like kids. Like, they became friends when she was like 7 and he was 9, and then he died when he was 12 and became a god and she was 10. So there was only friendship there. But when she thinks back on things fondly and when she sees him when she's an adult, she has feelings there and she doesn't know how to like comprehend them or what to describe them as. And obviously because she went through some awful stuff when she was taken in by that other house and then the guy tried to rape her and then she killed him, obviously she doesn't really want to have these feelings per se, and she's always kind of closed herself off from it. But then with Castor, like as I said, she was slowly developing this need to have someone to rely on and have someone rely on her, and then all of a sudden this kiss came out of nowhere and killed it for me. And then it went 0 to 100 like real quickly, because it seemed like their lives depended on each other and they were so in love and like everything was all encompassing, and then next minute they had this big argument and then they parted forever and then they got back into each other's lives and the blah blah blah. But like, I just thought the development was gonna last so much longer. And then yeah, with that kiss, and then Castor's like, don't kiss me if it doesn't mean anything, and then she's all like, no, I love you. And then like when they had their second kiss, I appreciated the second one way more, but the first one just made me really upset. Like, I just felt like that came out of nowhere. It didn't need to happen. They were developing on such a nice little path, and when I got to the end of the book, I just didn't care anymore. I'm just like, fine, you do whatever, I don't care what you guys do. Miles and Van, on the other hand, was absolutely perfect. I loved the relationship that developed between both of them in the background, because Miles was Law's best friend and roommate, and then Van was in the family with Castor, and so they're like cousins or something, but they're also like best friends. And both boys are there and they're dealing with different things, but they slowly start to depend on each other and become friends. And like, Van really like attached himself to Miles, and he didn't really understand his feelings either, but then he also kind of let himself feel for once, because he's always had to give up everything that he's ever wanted. So then he wants Miles, and then like when they had the kiss at the end and how Miles was like, well, if we're gonna die anyway, and then Van kissed him, and I just was sitting there just like, yes, like this is the romance I wanted. I appreciated their romance so much. I loved it with all of my heart. And just, oh, it just makes me so happy. Like, at least there was one good romance in this story. And then we get to the end, and Wrath has this whole plan to destroy New York City, and like Athena's decided to jump ship completely and join Wrath's side, and they're gonna make a big sacrifice and hope that the gods are gonna come down and like do something so they can go somewhere or do some shit. Like, I didn't really know what they were doing with their plan. By this point, I was just like, the ending is getting weird. Law comes out and she's got the shield that she lied about the whole time that she never had. Like, I really hate it when the main character, when you're in their POV, is able to lie to you as the reader. So like the whole time she's there like, I don't know where the shield is, I don't know what happened, what's going on, and then she's like, oh, I hid it when I was 10 and I like stopped the feelings of knowing about this. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, I just like, same thing. Aelin did it. Law's doing it. There's other characters that have done it, and I just don't like it. And so they're all fighting, and she's trying to stop it because they've got this like special fire crap, and then suddenly Athena like has a heart and then decides to jump ships back to Law, and she wants to be a hero. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't just be evil the whole book and then suddenly go, oh, I hate murder now. And so she kills Wrath. And then at the end, like, Law's kind of dying, and then Athena just comes to her and then she's like, I'm gonna let you kill me so you can take my powers. And that's all the gods had to do the whole time, was let a mortal kill them so that he could ascend back to heaven or wherever the gods are, because that's what Apollo did, because Castor was gonna die of cancer when he was a young boy, and then Apollo saved him by letting him kill him, and then no one knew where Apollo's spirit went, and so Athena did the same thing. So then it's only Law and Castor left, and they're all like, oh, we're gonna be gods forever and we're gonna be hunted. So then as they're about to ascend into their like full god mode, they're sitting there just like, Zeus, let us go, Zeus, let us go, bruh. And then he lets them go and the book ends. Like, literally, they're like, oh, we saw the morning of the next day, and the book ends. And I'm just like, okay, so we have no information about the other households. We have no information on how New York City is going to get over this shit. We don't know why Zeus decided to be a good guy when he's always been an awful guy in history. And like literally, like what is the point? It's a really interesting and unique concept for Greek gods and goddesses and everything, and I liked the idea of them being punished and being killed by the people that they tried to protect in the revolutions and stuff that they had back in the day when they were trying to save mortals, but then they ended up killing everyone. Like, I understand, I really like the concept, but that was it. Like, they just had to say please and then they were able to get out of it. Like, what the hell? I feel like I got very ranty about this book, but this happens to me all the time. Like, whenever I really know I want to film a review, I have to talk about things that irritate me because duh. I still stand by giving this book 4 stars because it doesn't fit in my 3-star category. This is a 4-star read for me, but again, as I said, there's things that annoyed me, but purely enjoyment factor. And this is a big thing that I've been reading my books with recently because I'm not enjoying anything. So if a book manages to get these kind of feelings from me and I enjoy it a lot, I'm gonna give it high rating because, as I said, I'm not really feeling that much towards what I'm reading. So when I do, it just brings me such immense joy. And I just had fun. As I said, this was a really unique concept. It's been a long time since I've actually read an urban fantasy, so that was really fun as well. I'm so glad I finally got to it. At least it didn't take me like 16 years to actually finish this book. I'm proud of that. But you know, the other ironic thing though is, like, at the end of the book they have like this whole list of all the characters and what they do, and like this would have been helpful at the start because all they've got is like this map, like some information on the houses, but this character thing, this was useful. This was useful for my reading experience. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It feels so weird filming a review again. Like, I honestly enjoy it so much because I just get to talk some crap for like however long this video is gonna go. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.